I found a locked drawer in my MIL's guest room. Inside were dozens of photos of me eating, sleeping, on the phone, taken without my knowledge. Next to them was a journal with my daily schedule tracked in her handwriting. "Just keeping tabs," she said when confronted. My husband said, "You're overreacting." "She's protective." I took her book, copied every page, and mailed it to every guest that had ever called her charming. When I say I never wanted to move back to Dayton, Ohio, I mean it with my whole heart. That place holds the kind of cold that creeps into your bones and settles there. But life happens. Cal lost his job at the warehouse. I got laid off from the salon. Rent was overdue for the third time. The credit cards were maxed out. My car was breaking down every other week. We were drowning. So when Cal's mom offered the guest house behind her big white colonial on Woodmere Drive, it felt like a rope tossed into the water. "We'll stay 6 months. Maybe a year," I said. "Then we're out." That was 3 years ago. The guest house was clean, small, and quiet. It had its own bathroom and kitchenette. From the outside, it looked like a sweet little cottage. From the inside, it felt like a prison cell I hadn't realized I was locked in. But I tried to be grateful. I tried hard. His mom, Lorna, put on a good show. She smiled wide. She brought over cookies. She told stories about Cal's childhood like she was proud of everything. But there was something underneath it. Something I noticed right away. The way she always knocked but turned the knob before I answered. The way she made comments about how long I slept or how often I left the house. "You sure like your alone time, don't you?" she'd say with a laugh that didn't feel funny. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe I was just tense from everything. Maybe she was just trying to connect. But then things got stranger. I'd walk into a room, and the curtains were drawn when I knew I had opened them earlier. My toothbrush moved. Once, I found my phone under the couch cushion when I swore I left it charging. And she always seemed to know what I'd eaten that day. I chalked it up to me being forgetful, or her guessing. I should have trusted my gut. It was a Saturday when I found the drawer. Cal and Lorna had gone to his sister's for the weekend. I stayed behind with a fake migraine because I needed space. I needed a damn minute to breathe. I went into her house looking for wrapping paper. She said I could use anything in the office closet, but while I was in there, I noticed her desk. The bottom drawers opened easy, files, paper clips, envelopes. But the top left drawer had a keyhole. Locked. Why lock a drawer when everything else was open? I couldn't shake the feeling. So I waited until nightfall. I found an old credit card Cal kept in his sock drawer and a bobby pin. It took forever. My palms were sweating. I felt stupid, but I couldn't stop. When the lock finally gave, I felt this deep, awful pull in my stomach. Inside was a stack of manila folders and a spiral notebook. On top of them were photos. Of me. I wasn't prepared. Not for that. There were pictures of me through the kitchen window, eating cereal. Me brushing my hair in the mirror. Me asleep in bed. Me folding laundry. Me laughing on the phone. Some were grainy like they were zoomed in from a distance. Others were clear, taken close. Too close. My face. My hands. My back turned while cooking. I started shaking. Then I opened the notebook. Her handwriting. Loopy, neat, with little hearts on the eyes. Monday, June 3rd, 8:14 a.m. Open curtains. 9:02, made coffee. 10:35, sat on porch with notebook. Looked upset. Tuesday, June 4th, 7:56 a.m. Didn't eat breakfast. 10:10, walked to mailbox. 12:45, argued on phone. She wrote down everything. For over a year. Every day I was there. Where I went. What I wore. What I did. Every damn thing. I dropped the notebook. I felt cold. Violated. She had watched me without my knowing for months. Maybe longer. Had she been in the guest house? Had she followed me? Were there cameras? I called Cal, told him everything. His response? She's just protective. She's always been that way. You're overreacting. Overreacting. That word set something off in me. Like a switch flipped. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just nodded and hung up. The next morning, I went to the UPS store with a bag full of the photos and the journal. I scanned every page, every single word she had written. I made full-color copies, printed on nice paper. I labeled each page by date, just like she had. It took hours. I didn't care. Then I made a list of every person who ever told me how charming she was. Her church circle. Her book club. That neighbor who always brought her tomatoes. Her old friends from the PTA. I remembered their names because she loved to brag about them. I made 25 envelopes. Inside each one, I placed a set of the photos and a full copy of her journal notes. I also included a letter. No threats. No curse words. Just one sentence. This is how Lorna spends her time. Watching me. Writing about me. Photographing me in private. I mailed them from 3 different post offices. I didn't leave a return address. But I made damn sure she knew exactly what I'd done. The first call came 3 days later. It was around 6:45 in the evening. I was making grilled cheese in the guest house when Cal came in, his face tight, jaw clenched like he'd been chewing glass. "What the hell did you do?" he snapped. I didn't answer right away. I just wiped my hands on a towel and looked at him. I'd been waiting for this. My mom got a phone call from one of her church friends. Jean. She's freaking out. Said she opened her mail and found a bunch of photos of you and some journal pages. Said it looked like a stalker's log. "What the hell, Miranda?" "You mean your mother's log," I said calmly. He threw his arms up. "Jesus Christ, Miranda. Why would you do this? Why wouldn't you talk to her?" "I did talk to her," I snapped. "You were there. She said she was just keeping tabs, remember? And you said I was overreacting. So I handled it. You embarrassed her. She violated me." He didn't have an answer for that. He just stood there, shaking his head. Then he said something I'll never forget. "She was just trying to make sure you weren't hiding anything." That's when I knew we were done. I didn't say it out loud yet, but something in me shifted. Cal wasn't going to protect me. He wasn't going to choose me. He was so deep in his mother's pocket he couldn't even see how sick this all was. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, the calls started coming for her. I heard her yelling through the walls of the main house. Her voice high and shrill, like a dog whistle. I watched from the window as her friends pulled into the driveway one by one. Most didn't come in. They handed envelopes back to her, some still sealed. She threw one down in the driveway and stomped on it. Her face was red and wild. Then came the fallout. Her book club dropped her. The pastor at her church asked her not to come for a few weeks. The neighborhood women stopped inviting her for afternoon tea. Her phone rang less and less. She stopped smiling. She stopped bringing cookies. She stopped pretending. And that's when things really turned dark. One night, I came home late from the grocery store. The porch light on the guest house had been unscrewed. The inside smelled like vinegar. Not the kind you cook with, the kind you use to clean. She'd been inside. Again. I changed the locks the next day. Paid out of pocket to have it done. Cal lost it when he found out. "She's your landlord," he said. "You can't just change her locks." "She's a predator," I shot back. "I'm not letting her watch me anymore." After that, the house went quiet. Cal and I barely spoke. He'd go to the main house for dinner. I stayed in the guest house. He started sleeping over there more than with me. I started sleeping with the light on. Then, 2 weeks later, I found a camera under the guest house sink. Small, black, battery-powered. Aimed at the kitchen table. My knees went weak. I stared at it for a full minute before I could even breathe. This woman was still watching me. Still tracking me. Even after everything. I yanked it out, slammed it into the garbage disposal, and turned it on. The sound it made was like something screaming. I called the police that night. Not to report a crime. There were no laws she'd broken that would stick in Ohio unless I caught her in the act, but I wanted it on the record. I filed a concerned citizen report, just in case. But the damage wasn't over yet, because someone started calling my job. My new receptionist job at a dental office downtown, one I'd fought to get after months of unemployment. They got anonymous calls about me being unstable, spiteful, untrustworthy. I knew exactly who was behind it. No one else hated me that much. No one else would care enough to sabotage me. I didn't lose the job, but my boss called me in for a talk. I kept it together. Barely. When I got home that night, there was a note taped to the guest house door. "You've done enough damage. You should leave. Before you ruin more lives." No name. No signature. Just that. But I knew who wrote it, and I knew I wasn't going anywhere. Not until this was finished. I took the note down without touching the tape, slid it into a plastic Ziploc, and hid it under the sink with the few other just-in-case items I'd started collecting. Printouts of the camera model, logs of strange noises at night, photos of items moved or missing. A petty little evidence pile, but I wasn't stupid. I knew I might need it. Things didn't calm down. They shifted. She stopped trying to scare me directly. Instead, she got smarter. Sneakier. One afternoon, I came home from work and noticed the mail on the table. I never leave my mail on the table. I take it straight to the bedroom. But there it was, 2 envelopes I hadn't opened yet. I picked them up. One had been sliced open at the top. Clean. Precise. It was a health bill. Nothing scandalous. But someone had read it. Someone had touched my private mail and put it back like I wouldn't notice. That same night, the router reset 3 times while I was trying to finish an online training module. Cal said it was the weather. The skies were clear. I checked the logs. Manual resets. Someone had unplugged it from the main house. That's when I realized. This wasn't just about watching me anymore. She wanted to break me. She wanted me to go. Then came the worst of it. A week later, I came home from work and found a dead bird on my welcome mat. Not a fallen bird. Not one that hit a window. This one had its wings clipped. I know what that looks like. I grew up around birds. Someone had cut its wings. I stood there for a long time, staring down at it. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to throw up. But what I did was take a photo, double bag it, and drive it straight to the station. This time I spoke to a detective. He listened. He was polite. But he couldn't do anything without proof of who did it. So I started planning. Not to leave. To fight back. I bought a motion camera. 2, actually. Small, battery-powered, no Wi-Fi needed. I hid one in the corner of the porch, tucked behind a hanging plant. The other went just inside the living room, facing the window. I didn't tell Cal. I didn't trust him not to mention it to her. 3 nights later, I got footage. She came to the porch at 2:43 a.m., stepped right up, looked around, and then walked to the side window like she was stretching. But her hand moved fast. She slipped something into the window crack and walked off. When I checked the window the next day, I found a tiny slip of paper. On it, in her handwriting, were the words, "You'll never be part of this family." That broke something in me. Not because it hurt. Because it confirmed everything. She didn't see me as her son's wife. She saw me as an intruder. A threat. Something to monitor, control, and eventually get rid of. So I did something that scared even me. I went to her bedroom while she was gone. I broke in through the guest house bathroom window, slipped into the main house through the back. She still hadn't changed her alarm code. I walked straight to her room and went through every drawer, every box, every shelf. What I found in the back of her closet made my stomach turn. A second notebook. Not 1, 3, all filled with logs. Not just of me. There were logs on Cal's ex, his high school girlfriend, a coworker from his first job, even one about a woman who used to walk her dog past the house. She'd watched them all. kept track of what they wore, who they talked to, what time they left their homes. One entry read, "If she shows up again in red, she's trying to get attention." This wasn't about me. It never was. Lorna had been doing this for decades. I took photos of every page. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped my phone twice. I locked everything back up just the way I found it and got out. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the weight of it all pressing down on me. Cal had grown up thinking this behavior was normal. No wonder he thought I was overreacting. He'd lived under her microscope his whole life. But now I had real proof. And I was going to use it. I took a full week to decide how I was going to end this. Not just for me. For everyone she'd watched, written about, tracked. I sent one copy of her notebooks, the photos of them, to the same detective I'd spoken to. I included a detailed statement and explained that I believed Lorna had been involved in stalking, not just me but multiple women. I also gave him the video footage of her on my porch and the note she left in my window. Still, he said the evidence wasn't enough for criminal charges, not yet. But that wasn't the end. Not for me. I mailed the same package of notebook photos and porch footage to every person I'd sent the first batch to, her church friends, neighbors, even the pastor. This time, I included copies of the logs she kept on other women. Not just me. I wrote, "This is not just about me anymore. She has been doing this for over 20 years. Ask your daughters. Ask your friends. She's been watching all of us." Then I took it one step further. I posted it online. I made a blog. Simple title, Life Under Lorna. I posted the pictures, the journal entries, the video, the dead bird. I wrote out the story, step by step. I didn't hold back. I didn't name anyone else, just myself. But I showed everything she'd done to me, everything I had proof of. It took off. Within 3 days, it had thousands of views. People shared their own stories. Neighbors who remembered weird questions she'd asked about them, coworkers of Cal's who said she showed up at their work just to say hi, even one woman who said she stopped going to church after catching Lorna watching her in the parking lot. And then it happened. A woman emailed me, said she recognized one of the names in Lorna's notebooks. Her sister. Her sister had died by suicide 6 years ago. She told me Lorna had been friends with her sister, that they'd stopped talking months before she died. And now she believed Lorna had been watching her too. She had always suspected something was wrong, but had no idea what. She took the information to her lawyer, then to the police. Suddenly, the police were interested. They called me back, asked to see everything in person. I brought it all in. 2 weeks later, they got a warrant. They searched Lorna's home. They found more notebooks. Hundreds of pages. Photos. Dates. Maps. One of the notebooks had a floor plan sketch of my guest house. Another had names and car license plates written in careful handwriting. It was all enough. She was arrested. The official charges were stalking, trespassing, and illegal surveillance. The media picked it up. Ohio woman accused of tracking daughter-in-law for years. There was even a segment on the local evening news. Her mugshot played while the anchor read out details of the journal logs. Cal came to me that night. Face white. Silent. "I didn't know," he said. "Yes, you did," I told him. "You just didn't want to." We didn't speak again after that. I filed for divorce 2 months later. I stayed in the guest house long enough to finish packing. Then I left Dayton behind. I moved to Cincinnati. Got a job at a clinic. Found a small apartment with thick locks and no windows facing the street. I kept my head down. For a while. But people didn't forget. The blog stayed up. It became a place where other women shared their stories. Not just about Lorna, about mothers-in-law, old bosses, exes, landlords. The watchers. The ones who never got caught. It helped people. It helped me. But I wasn't innocent either. I ignored my gut for too long. I let myself be talked down, called paranoid, made to feel small. I should have walked away sooner. I should have stood up for myself louder. I let him convince me that love means tolerance. It doesn't. Love means protection, respect, safety, none of which I got. Lorna went to trial, got 3 years probation, mandatory psychiatric evaluation, and a restraining order from me and 5 other women. It wasn't the justice I wanted, but she lost her name, her circle, her pride, and I gained something better. Peace. I still sleep with a light on sometimes, but I don't feel watched anymore. And I'll never let anyone make me feel small again.